Well, hi there, friends. Good Tuesday morning to you all. Hope you are enjoying your day so far. And thanks for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Tim Pham. I have to admit, this morning I thought it was Wednesday for like 2 hours. So
That's okay.
Thank you, Channing, for reminding me
You're
that
welcome.
it is Tuesday. Tuesday. And we're going to get through it, friends. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is getting you out the door on this Tuesday. So, Thomas, what's in store for this week? Because it sounds like we're not quite done with summer yet.
No, not at all, Tim and Shannon. I don't want to confuse you anymore because it's my first work day this week. So if it's my Monday, but you thought it was Wednesday, evens out into Tuesday. I think that's how the math works. Yeah, looking pretty nice as we are approaching sunrise in about 20 minutes time. And yeah, there's a little bit of cloud cover, just kind of painting the canvas out there. Bob Ross would just say that those are happy little clouds out there. Mostly cloudy at the moment, and I do think that wins the day. Like yesterday, some filtered sunshine. At times, it might just seem a little bit more gray outside, but not worried about any kind of rainfall or cooler temperatures because it is a warming trend that we're going to enjoy. Upper 70s today, lots of 80s and maybe even close to 90 by this weekend. We'll cover that in a bit more detail in a few minutes.
Right now, the future of the Pac-12 is in limbo as a judge in Whitman County has issued a temporary restraining order against the conference. And this comes after both Washington State and Oregon State universities filed a lawsuit to prevent the departing schools from making decisions on the conference governance.
So this morning, our Brandon T. Jones is joining us live in the newsroom to break this all down. So Brandon, can you explain what this restraining order means?
Yeah, good morning, Tim, Channing. And for starters, it means that a meeting the Pac-12 had scheduled for this Wednesday has been canceled. Judge Gary Libby in Whitman County granted the two schools with that temporary restraining order. It prevents the conference from meeting or attempting to meet until the court can decide who is allowed to be on the governing board. During Monday's hearing, representatives from OSU, WSU, and the Pac-12 presented arguments on the possible restraining order. Eric McMichael, the attorney for the two remaining schools, said the restraining order would serve as emergency relief to preserve the status quo and prevent the breach of the Pac-12 bylaws. McMichael added that all 10 departing schools lost their rights to vote on conference matters when they gave their notice to withdraw, even though it wasn't an official withdrawal at the time.
It's been very clear for the last 14 months that members who announce they're leaving the conference and joining competitors can no longer participate on the board or make decisions on behalf of the conference.
Also during the hearing, Pac-12 representatives made the argument that all 12 schools need to be able to weigh in on essential functions like employee retention. They went on to say that it's a mischaracterization that the Pac-12 wants to amend the conference bylaws. Instead, they're aiming to prevent a 10 versus 2 situation with the conference members. Ultimately, Judge Libby granted the temporary restraining order that restricts meetings, but said the conference can still continue normal day-to-day business. Live in the newsroom, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Well, check this out. Turf is now in the One Spokane Stadium. Spokane Public Schools Superintendent Adam Swinyer tweeted this out yesterday. SPS will hold a ribbon cutting ceremony for the stadium on September 26th. The first high school football game will be played 2 days later on September 28th.
Now to some of our other big stories of the morning. KREM 2 has confirmed a Spokane law firm is conducting its own investigation into the Gray Fire. That fire destroyed 240 homes in the Medical Lake and surrounding area 3 weeks ago. The cause of the fire is still under investigation by the Department of Natural Resources. To be clear, though, a lawsuit has not been filed at this time, but attorney John Allison telling KREM 2 his office is in the middle of its own investigation. He said several homeowners affected by the fire contacted his office, and he expects even more to come forward. Meanwhile, happening tomorrow, the man accused of murdering a family of 4 in Kellogg is expected to be back in court. Prosecutors say 31-year-old Major John Kaler admitted to shooting and killing his 4 neighbors back in June after he accused the oldest son in the family of lewd conduct in front of Kaler's young children. Kaler is in court tomorrow for his arraignment, which means he could enter a plea. Prosecutors have taken the death penalty off the table in this case, so if convicted, Kaler could face up to life in prison. His hearing starts at 10 in the morning.
6:05 right now. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. Spokane voters will still have a say on the proposed anti-camping initiative on the November ballot. The measure would ban camping within 1,000 feet of parks, daycares, and schools. A lawsuit was brought by Jules Helping Hands and former City Council President Ben Stuckert, saying the measure would be illegal. But last month, a Spokane County Superior Court judge dismissed that suit. Spokane police say someone vandalized the Pride crosswalk on Perry Street. The crosswalk was spray painted sometime over the weekend, and now police are looking for the person responsible. In the meantime, Boeing has finalized a multi-billion-dollar deal with Vietnam Airlines to purchase 50 737 MAX jets. The deal was announced during a signing ceremony with President Biden. The president was in Vietnam as part of an effort to bolster the relationship between the two countries. And harvest season is here, so that means more farm equipment and tractors will be on Idaho roads. And now AAA Idaho is reminding drivers what to do to keep yourselves and farmers safe. They suggest watching for slow-moving vehicles in rural areas, especially around sunrise and sunset. When going around slow-moving equipment, slow down and make sure that it is safe to pass. Pay attention to unusual lengths and widths of farm equipment and keep clear of moving or protruding parts. And of course, watch out for workers entering and exiting fields. And that's a look at your morning rush.
So your bus stop forecast on this Tuesday morning, where weather conditions will stay mostly cloudy, but because of that, it's actually fairly mild, or at least warmer than normal for an early school year day. 57 degrees for that bus stop forecast. Again, can be in the 40s at times, but there's actually quite few and far between temperatures that are that cool. We'll take you straight to those current temperatures. Looks like the only spot is Sandpoint at 46 degrees. That's that cool. Otherwise, everyone else, mid 50s or even warmer. Yeah, look at southeastern Washington. Pomeroy still at 68 degrees. That's definitely warm for this time of year. And it could get outright hot by this weekend because the mid-September outlook to the final days of the summer season are looking much warmer than average. We'll show you what days could be closer to 90 than not over the weekend. That's all coming up in a few minutes.
Albertsons and Fred Meyer are some of the most popular supermarket options here in the Northwest. As the companies behind the two grocery giants try to merge, they'll be selling off more than 400 stores nationwide.
And this includes 13 stores in Idaho and more than 100 here in Washington state, which is actually about 1/3 of their stores in both states. The nearly $25 billion deal between Fred Meyer's parent company, Kroger, and Boise-based Albertsons was announced last year. To get it done, more than 400 Kroger and Albertsons stores, along with a few private label brands, will be sold to a wholesale grocery supply company that runs grocery stores in the Midwest and in the Carolinas.
You've got the FTC, who's sitting out there, the Federal Trade Commission, that is looking at mergers and acquisitions and making decisions about whether they want to try and block those mergers and acquisitions. Their intention is to say what's best for the consumer.
Kroger says the merger will allow them to offer customers lower prices and more choices in the face of rising costs for products and labor. No word yet if any Spokane or Coeur d'Alene stores are affected. This merger is expected to be finalized early next year.